of my friends, the Kid and Ken.
Lovely episode today for Dicks, Dorks, and Destinies.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be full of dicks.
Yeah. We're talking about professional wrestling. And yeah, some of those people are pretty dickish, so yeah.
Professional wrestling, sports entertainment.
I mean, he's got a point.
So are we going? How far back with this episode are we going? Or are we going to just today? Just modern wrestling.
I mean, we can end with modern wrestling. I would like to at least go back to when I started watching wrestling.
Okay, so back in the 1990s.
Yeah,
back when TVs were just invented for chapel.
Oh my! You know what? Yes, they were. And live events came with like blowjobs and a beer for every 12-year-old and older.
Holy shit! I'm interested. Sign me up.
He wants to talk about saying, back when TVs were just invented for you. He doesn't realize that I'm older.
I know, right?
Yes, but Chapel also just recently turned older, so I gotta take a crack at him on
he just recently gained a year, and I'm up next because mine is at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Well, then on the next episode, when it falls in line with you getting older, I'll take a crack shot at you too.
Listen to this wet behind the ears kid talking like we're fucking ancient.
I mean,
yeah, you know what? I got a response to that he just needs to shine up real shiny, turn it sideways, and shove it straight up his candy little ass.
I mean, how much you paying me?
Oh,
as much as a professional wrestler? Then I'm in.
Well, that saying was from a professional wrestler.
You might be a little disappointed with that pay there, Ken.
I'm disappointed in everything. Leave me alone.
So how far back do we want to go? Do we want to go 80s or 90s?
Well, I mean, I remember seeing some of the wrestlers that started in the 80s. I mean, the biggest wrestlers of the time that I remember seeing was Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan.
Oh my god!
And The Undertaker.
Hulk Hogan, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot.
Oh no, you would have been correct if you would have said Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I remember Hulk Hogan. I remember watching some of those. I mean, granted, they definitely weren't live for me, but I mean,
they weren't really live for me either. I don't believe, because I don't even fucking remember whenever WrestleMania, what the biggest WrestleMania that they talked about was WrestleMania 3 with Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Wasn't
and
there
Hulk Hogan beat
Roddy Piper or something as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of those as well.
Yeah. And that was Roddy Piper with I can't remember who his opponent was Mr. T. And that was WrestleMania 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, just WrestleMania 3
just so
was in March 29th, 1987. So I would have been like 3 fucking years old during that. So I didn't watch that, and I didn't watch that live.
Right.
And just so
but I mean,
we're clear, Roddy Piper, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan started in the late 70s.
Yeah, Hogan started in the late 70s. And Hogan was, I think, in his late 20s, early 30s when he started.
Yeah.
He was definitely past the prime of where the McMahons wanted their superstars to be.
Yeah. So okay. I know we just started, but let's go over favorite wrestlers.
Okay, so we'll just go back as far as we can remember then.
Yeah. No, I was just asking, who our favorite wrestlers are.
I would say mine was definitely either The Undertaker or Kane. Those two
Yeah.
were some of my all-time favorites.
I fucking love the Attitude Era. Yeah.
Oh, the Attitude Era was fucking phenomenal. I loved it as well. The Monday Night Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually watched Reliving the War on YouTube, and that's an amazing YouTube channel.
But I mean, as far as favorite wrestlers go, I always liked to a point Hulk Hogan,
Okay.
and then I
He was
also
the
liked
mustache.
Roddy Piper. I also liked Macho Man Randy Savage. You know, hell, I fucking loved Andre. I got it when the first time whenever I seen the movie The Princess Bride, I got fucking all excited as shit because it had Andre the Giant in it. Okay, I didn't care about the storyline. Andre the Giant played a character from that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Oh.
for a lot of people, that was enough.
Speaking of stuff like that, isn't oh god, I could be wrong if that's not his wrestler name, but Batista?
Yep,
Oh yeah,
Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of he was a wrestler and he's been in a lot of movies now too.
He's a wrestler that has transitioned to TV and film, just like The Rock and John Cena.
Oh god, I always forget about John Cena. I genuinely do. Like I always remember that The Rock, I remember seeing him on pro wrestling, and then I just kind of forgot about that. But The Rock, but Cena, yeah, I completely forgot about him.
Yeah. Yeah, Cena and The Rock have actually made a lot of headway into Hollywood after you know, doing their thing with WWF. Well, WWE now, but WWF back then.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that whole thing when it all started out as WWF and then it had to be transitioned over into WWE because the World Wildlife Foundation got pissed off because the World Wrestling Federation was more popular.
I really think that first off, WWF should have took a chair into that match, and secondly, like I feel like WWF was older than the World Wildlife Foundation, and I don't see what the problem was.
Well, one of them has to deal with the protection of wildlife, and the other one genuinely has the protection of
The
a steel
protection of
chair.
a steel chair.
Yeah.
Which is more popular, violence or this plant? Steel chair, please.
violence or the panda.
Yeah. No,
The violence.
So if we're talking about
I
favorite
mean,
wrestlers,
you've got to go into it with that. You got Macho Man Randy Savage, great, phenomenal wrestler.
a little crazy.
Oh no, there's more than just a little crazy because I've listened to the untold stories of WWE from people that have spent most of their life around these wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bischoff has one. I think it was like the day of a pay-per-view, or which is now called a premium live event. Macho Man's contract was coming to an end, and they all got there. Macho Man got to the city that they were performing in the day before. Whenever they all got there, they all went out on the town, drink, and everything else. So Eric Bischoff is back at the hotel with a hangover. He goes and gets a phone call from the front desk, says, "Hey, Mr." and I don't even remember Randy's real name. He requests for you to come to his room. So Bischoff, hungover as shit, goes to Macho Man's room, knocks on the door. Macho Man tells him, "Door is open, come in." Out of the corner of Bischoff's eye, he sees Macho Man Randy Savage standing butt-ass naked in the bathroom with shaving cream all over his body while he's shaving. And we're talking head-to-toe shaving.
Gotta look clean in them tights.
The man had catering bring in all kinds of food, all kinds of alcohol. It's all sitting in the, I guess what we'll just call it the sitting room. Bischoff heads there. The man, this is like a genius play, a genius play to renew his contract. He's standing there stark ass fucking naked, shaving for the event, and decides to talk about his contract negotiation then and there.
You thought this was going to be uncomfortable for me? No. This is going to be real uncomfortable for you.
It's like he made that shit real uncomfortable for fucking Bischoff just to renew his contract.
Fuck, at that point, I'd also sit there and go, hey, while I'm shaving the front side, you mind shaving the back side? I got an extra razor. Here, help out.
Yeah, Miss Elizabeth isn't here today. So anyway, yeah, speaking of favorites, so mine has always been Stone Cold Steve Austin. That has always been my favorite.
Stone Cold has always been one of my favorites because I don't have just a favorite. I have multiple. So
yeah,
like mine, like I said, mine goes with Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Randy the Macho Man Savage, Roddy Piper, Ultimate Warrior was one of mine. Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, John Cena, Dave Bautista. There's more.
Yeah.
It's just like there's a long list of this, and I mean I've been a fan of wrestling ever since I've watched wrestling, and I've been through a lot of the storylines. I've been emotionally disturbed, hurt, upset, pissed off, angry.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing in my house is when my household got banned from watching wrestling was a live event that they were doing, a pay-per-view. We watched it, and it's when Hulk Hogan went from his traditional yellow and red bullshit to when he transitioned over into NWO.
Yeah.
And when he had that whole speech and he told the whole world that all his Hulkamaniacs can go suck it, that pissed my mom off to the point where I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling. Me and Dad were not allowed to watch wrestling at all for months during that.
Yeah, I know your mom. She kind of blows up. She
Mom was always a big fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say, could be an unpopular opinion, but I hated Chris Jericho. Fucking hated him.
I mean,
really an unpopular opinion?
I mean, looking back on it, I can kind of see it because.
Oh, I definitely can see it because I mean, I've been some of a fan of Chris Jericho, but I've not been a fan of Chris Jericho. It's more of a love-hate relationship because I love to hate the guy.
He's just a pompous little asshole. Like
that's the thing, that you're supposed to hate his character. That's why his character is like that. Is because you're supposed to hate him. If you hate the character, he's doing a magnificent job.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, you know that you know damn well he was paid to put on that persona of I am the hated one. But fuck that little asshole, man. I would literally I know for a damn fact that is why he got the reviews he did, because we all sat there with the beers and our whatevers, and we sat there and went, "Take that stupid little motherfucker down, get him."
Like I said, that with me with Chris Jericho, it was a love-hate relationship. I love to hate the guy.
Yeah.
Even whenever, because in wrestling entertainment, you've got what they call the baby faces and the heels.
Yeah.
So even when he would flip flop from the heel to the fucking baby face, I still love to hate him as a baby face.
Yeah.
And baby faces you're supposed to cheer for. No, this motherfucker was getting all my anger.
Yeah. Like, and then who was the other guy? Was it Rey Mysterio? Was that his name? The one who always chose a different mask every.
Rey Mysterio Jr., but yeah.
Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio Jr.
Yep.
Don't be hating on my little man.
Look,
Don't be hating on my little man.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, he definitely also played both roles as well. There were times where he would walk in because they would line him up with someone that had way bigger title status, and so like he was the baby face for sure.
He's the biggest little underdog in WWE.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and good God, that Mysterio Jr. He was a flexible little shit.
Well, he
Like,
wrestled his
he was
fucking
hard
heart
to get. Yeah, he was hard to grab on.
You also got to take in consideration too that he is a luchador as well.
Yeah.
He's just not a professional wrestler. He is a luchador. He does wrestle in Mexico.
Yeah.
Or he did wrestle in Mexico.
Yeah.
Now, if we're getting on people that we love to hate, there's this new guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with AEW, but there's this new guy. His name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and oh my god,
MJF.
Yeah, MJF. I fucking love MJF. He is a horrible heel. And when I say that, I mean like he does a really good job as a heel. Because you'll see him, he'll get on like TikTok or something, and he'll be just an asshole. Not even on the show, but he'll be like just an asshole all the time. He's the one that took the picture that said he was wearing the scarf, and he's like, only losers play D&D, and I don't do that shit.
What a fucking dickhole.
Yeah, see, I haven't really watched AEW, and that's probably going to shock some people, but I've heard great things. I do keep up with it from time to time. And AEW is an all right promotion.
I mean, I like
for what it is.
Yeah, no, I think they do great stuff.
This thing is for what it is.
Monday Night Raw.
AEW doesn't have the bankroll, I should say, as WWE has. So. And that's the thing is a lot of wrestlers from WWE has gone to AEW and stayed there and worked there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to disagree.
I mean,
because Tony Khan has more wealth than Vince McMahon ever will. Tony Khan's
but Tony Khan's not the only one in control there.
No, he's not, but he's the owner of the company.
And Vince McMahon is not the owner of WWE anymore.
Oh, no, he sold it.
He sold it to the same company that bought out UFC, so.
And honestly, I think that's a good thing because he had I think that Vince McMahon had too much creative control.
Oh, he had way too much creative control. He's no longer in creative whatsoever.
No.
Now he just sits on the board of directors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoying his retirement.
But, I like.
Sure he is.
I haven't watched,
paycheck.
like I said, I haven't really watched AEW. I keep up with it from time to time. So I'm not going to hate on the brand.
Yeah.
Because they pulled viewers away from WWE.
Well, WWE
if you can pull viewers from the fucking Titan in professional wrestling when you start up as a little indie show, if you can fucking pull viewers from the Titan, you have my respect.
Well, here's the thing. And let's make no mistake about it. The only reason why WWE at that point was considered a Titan is because they had a monopoly on wrestling in the U.S.
Well, yeah, I mean, hell, their biggest rival at the time, and that continued to be the biggest rival, was Ted Turner and his multiple promotion startups.
Yep.
Yeah. But the thing is once they, and here's the thing, and I believe this, I will always believe this, and no one will ever be able to talk me out of believing this. The worst thing to ever happen to wrestling was WWF buying out WCW. That was the absolute worst thing that could have happened to wrestling.
That was the absolute worst thing. That was to me, that was the darkest day in wrestling history.
And it's not because I didn't want to see those dream matches. I did. But none of that stuff came about because everyone that was popular or big in WCW just went home and set on contracts that they just had to wait out, and they were still making money. And then anybody
look, my ultimate favorite wrestler comes from the WCW era.
Okay.
And that's Sting. Sting has always been one of my favorite wrestlers. I mean, hell, for many years when I was growing up and still trick-or-treating, going out for Halloween, when Sting debuted the Crow face paint.
Yeah.
And the black leather trench coat.
Yeah.
And the baseball bat. That was my costume for multiple years.
Yeah.
Going out.
Someone queue up Q Lazarus Goodbye Horses, please.
So, I mean, Sting has always been one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, always one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
And the day that WCW finally went down and WWF at the time, which is now WWE, when they bought them out, Sting was the last man to leave. So basically, he turned the lights out on that show himself.
Yeah.
And I have the utmost respect for the guy.
Yeah. No,
he went from the start of the fucking Monday Night Wars to the bitter end, carrying WCW on his back.
Well, he wasn't the only one. Ric Flair was in that. For
he wasn't the only one, but he's the most prominent in that.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair statement, I believe.
So we're talking about stuff like this, and now I had a question for the both of y'all.
Okay.
Now I don't remember his name because I only watched it once, but I have heard wind numerous times that this guy kind of got some popularity, probably mostly bad. But how do y'all feel about actual professional UFC fighters switching over to the WWE's, WAE's, and taking the advantage on just the amount of bullshit because of how much stronger they are?
Well, okay.
So you're talking about guys like Ken Shamrock and Brock Lesnar.
Well, no.
And Tank Abbott.
Hang on. Because a lot of people forget Brock Lesnar actually started in the WWF, and then he went to the UFC and made.
If you want to go into that, Brock Lesnar started it as a NCAA heavyweight wrestling champion in high school and college.
Yeah.
And then he transitioned from the Olympic mat to sports entertainment, was wrestled a few years, and at one point in time was the youngest world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Left that, went to football tryouts, played football for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Oof. That was
left
a good way to end your career.
Left the Vikings, went to UFC, dominated UFC.
For a while.
Left UFC, came back to WWE, and has dominated WWE. So, I mean, that man alone, I don't know if he is literally the love child of a Viking god or not, but he has dominated practically everything in his life.
So,
except women.
Yeah. No. He's dominated women.
No. Oh, he's dominated women. I mean, he's got his current wife is a former Playboy centerfold.
Oh, to be pretty.
And she is also a former WWE wrestler herself.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So now, if we're talking about legitimate badasses, we're going to have to talk about Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn. Dan Severn was not in the WWE for very long. 1, maybe 2 years. But Dan Severn was a fucking beast.
Oh, yeah, him and Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock was a legit fucking badass.
Yeah. Well, Ken.
So how do I feel about guys like that coming in and dominating and everything else? More power to them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is they didn't come in and actually hurt people. They just came in and they were part of the act. And they loved it because they made a lot of money doing it. Because they put
it was a hell of a lot easier than getting your fucking face beat in.
Yeah.
Night after night.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of something like that, sorry to flip-flop the subject, but the saying that actually reminded me of one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. Does anyone remember when The Undertaker actually, like, genuinely lost his shit in the middle of a match? I remember watching that, and all of a sudden, I remember hearing the announcers start freaking out because they realized that The Undertaker actually started bashing someone's face in, and there was blood just starting to pool on the fucking mats.
Yep.
Okay.
And the ref went in and tried taking that off.
That's the thing about that, and I'll even go into his name. Mark Calloway is his name. Mark has always, everyone that has ever wrestled with Mark has always stated that this man is just a giant calm everywhere that they went. He was a locker room leader, for Christ's sakes. Like, anybody that fucking had any issues, any beef with each other, they all went to him. And he fucking settled down, listened to both stories, and said, all right, this is what you're going to fucking do. You're going to do this, and you're going to do that. Then after that, y'all going to fucking shake hands, and then when we're done, we're going to go out, and y'all going to buy each other a fucking beer.
Yeah.
And squash this shit.
I remember.
So, I mean, that man, whenever he fucking snapped like that, something set him off.
Yeah, I know, and no one talked about it. That was the thing. Like, after that particular day happened, like, they didn't revise that with him. Like, they didn't bring it up on TV. They didn't nothing. Because I remember when the ref was trying to pull this guy off, this massive man, just trying for dear life. It was kind of a funny comedy at that point, you know. It's put on the little circus music, and you see this tiny little ref trying to move this giant man that is literally, his fists are just covered in blood, and he's just wailing on him.
You've got a 6'6", 6'7" man, near 300 pounds, and you throw maybe a 200-pound man on top of him to pull him off.
Yeah. It's like, come on, buddy. It's not worth it. Come on, you gotta get off of him. You will kill him. Get off of him. Fuck that. Ah!
That's not the only time a wrestler's lost their shit in the middle of taping an event or whatever. Because we were just talking about it. Ken Shamrock.
Yep.
Ken Shamrock lost his shit the day they dumped dog food on him. If you go back and watch it and you see the shit that Ken Shamrock's doing after the dog food, that is not, Ken's gone. Ken has checked out. That is the fucking MMA fighter that checked in, and he's wrecking everything. And he told them before that.
Did you not know about that? Because you got quiet there about the whole Undertaker thing.
I did not know about that. Which specific match are we talking about?
God, was Undertaker going against Kane that day?
I'm not entirely sure.
I want to say it was Undertaker versus Kane. Like, I actually want to say, because otherwise, Undertaker would have probably accidentally killed whoever else would have been in that. Because Kane had, and I know it's usually mostly in Kane's character as well, but I also know Kane did have a bit of an anger streak in him. But yeah, I want to say that Undertaker was just beating the ever-loving hell out of Kane, which was also a big shock because in most matches, when you saw Undertaker, if he was partnered up, it was usually the Undertaker and Kane together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that day, that's I remember when that had happened, and then that's when I remember in school, we started hearing about all these, like, of course none of it was true because it was just like paranormal phenomena bullshit. Like, watch this tape of Undertaker and, and his bloodlust is gonna rise or some shit like that. And it started all up after that when the Undertaker just fucking annihilated that day.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I'm looking for it, but I'm not finding any situations where Undertaker actually like hurt somebody.
And because of the time period, they might have actually they might have actually taken that down in a way out of respect for the show and for the Undertaker, because let's be honest, I want to say after that happened, he did not make an appearance for quite a while. Like, I think they kept him off of the roster for a while.
Well, so just so we're clear, I listen to a lot of podcasts about wrestling, and I did listen to the Joe Rogan podcast episode with Mark Calloway in it. A lot of people didn't know, but I think right before he joined up with the WWE or WWF at the time, he actually had he had hip problems the entire time he was working for the WWF. So he would take off long periods of time so that he could heal up.
Right.
I think it would have to have been the Bad Blood pay-per-view with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
Which one?
97.
97? Then that's coming up and reliving the war. It should be that'll be a few weeks out. No, they've already, because they're in 98 now. No, Undertaker, that would have been the match that Shawn Michaels got hurt. If we're talking about the casket match. Yeah, Shawn Michaels got hurt, but it wasn't because the Undertaker was beating the shit out of him. It was because he had gotten hurt a couple months before during a casket match, and Shawn Michaels landed on the casket wrong after going over the top rope, and it actually hurt his spine, and he was having to go in for surgery.
Yeah, I know it definitely wasn't that, because I do remember there was bloodshed.
Oh, no. I'm saying that the cause of it was a couple months before at a casket match with Shawn Michaels, and then later on, to remove Shawn Michaels from the storyline so that he could go have surgery, they had the Undertaker beat the ever-loving shit out of him.
Okay, then that would probably be it, because it was a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood 1997.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. Right on. Got you.
Because you get to see blood whenever Undertaker smashed HBK's face into the steel cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
And that was the first Hell in a Cell match. That was before the Hell in a Cell match with Mankind. And holy shit, that was a fucking match, man.
It is quite amusing that just pulling out a little bit of philosophical point of view here, because don't get me wrong, I love violence as much as the next guy. But it is quite entertaining to realize that, violence happens off of a camera and everyone's horrified and petrified, but the second you put it on a camera, everyone's cheering, whooping and hollering and throwing money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing, is a lot of people fucking will sit there and go, y'all know wrestling's not real, wrestling's fake. I said, and I'll say this over and over again. I said, okay, yeah, you're right. The storyline's scripted. They already know who the winner's going to be. They've already determined it.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to have a 330-pound man punch a 220-pound man square in the face with all his might either. So the punches, kicks, that shit's going to be that shit's going to be pulled. They still make contact.
Yeah, you have to in something like that. I mean, let's be honest, especially because we have seen when people do lose their shit, it gets real. It gets really real, really fast. But that's just because also, the adrenaline is pumping. Whether you're pulling punches or not, you still have to try to remember in your mind as you guys are pulling these punches and kicks and launching each other that the split turn of a dime can turn it from paid entertainment and stage to, oh shit, this actually just happened. Did it mean to happen?
Right.
No, but we got to keep rolling.
Well,
And then along with that, as a kid, I have been put into the submission maneuvers and have put other people in the submission maneuvers, and that shit fucking actually hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. But, I mean, even if it is just for entertainment purposes, it's still physically taxing. Like, gonna use Undertaker again, because he's my primary homeboy. The tombstone technique. Look, you can stage that all day long. However, that is a lot of physical labor to pick up somebody upside down and drop both yourself onto your knees with your weight and their head and make sure that they move their neck just right so they don't actually get super hurt.
No, not just that, but with that tombstone pile driver like that, because people have gotten hurt from that. Undertaker actually made sure that his opponent's head came in above his knees. So basically, he's got you held between his thighs, close to his dick, when he's dropping you.
Yep, and for any of us, and for any viewers, if you hadn't noticed that, go back and actually check that out, because that is true to 100% degree. You will always notice that when he lifts them, it is above his knees, so he doesn't break their fucking neck.
Yeah,
because that is a lot of weight being transitioned.
Well, I mean, that's how Stone Cold got hurt originally. He was in a match with Owen. Owen
Hart.
Yep. And Owen Hart, he didn't
hit him with the fucking pile driver.
Yeah. He was supposed to go to his knees, and instead he dropped to his ass, and Austin took all of that weight to his neck on the blow.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing is people goes into it where people go, well, it's not real. It's not real. Okay, then explain the injuries. Explain.
So
Stone Cold Steve Austin's fucking neck injuries. His fucking knees have been blown out. John Cena's torn pectoral muscles and shit like that. Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, since he's over in AEW, and Edge, fucking neck fusions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
I mean, it's
surgically repaired necks.
One of my other favorites is a Triple H, and he tore in a match. He tore out both his quads.
He blew both his quads.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, not even a wrestler, pissed off and angry, storming to the ring, climbs in the ring, blows both his fucking quads right there.
Yeah.
And you see that on live TV. And you can go back and see this over and over again as many times as you want. You can get it on YouTube and everything. Even now, since WWE has gotten partnered with so many streaming places like Hulu and fucking Peacock, you can literally go back and relive that moment where Vince McMahon, not a wrestler, but has done some wrestling.
Yep.
Blew both his quads just climbing into the ring.
It's staged to it's always staged to a degree, but the physical activity itself is very real.
It's staged to a degree. I'll give you that. It is fake to a degree. I'll give you that one. But whenever you pick someone up to body slam them, suplex them, everything else, they teach in the wrestling camps what they call it of how to take a bump, and that's basically landing on your back flat enough to absorb the shock and impact.
Which is exactly why you would, and that being said, and I think some people didn't realize this, but when you would hear people get flipped and they hit their back and they bounce, it's that loud shockwave that everyone hears is the full force of them actually taking that damage. But like you had said, they flattened out their back just enough to be able to fully absorb the shockwave through their whole body.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to throw in something else. And where people say it's fake, I said, take a fucking chair shot to the back, and you tell me it's fake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
you
you do not know...
When a steel chair is involved, and any time it is directed to the back, that is fucking just full force fucking hit.
Yeah.
Not really full force, but that is an actual legit hit. They are hitting their opponent with a steel chair.
Yeah.
And that steel chair is real.
That's why they only aim for the back.
Well,
notice
now they only aim for the back. If you go back and watch
oh, they used to aim for
they would
they would aim for whatever they could fucking get. Headshots, fucking body shots, leg shots.
But that's also all part of the experience of the show growing too. After so many, especially after so many injuries and stuff like that, they're like, well that they're gonna sit there and go, okay, we need to change up the tactic on where certain things are being used, so that way
because
we don't keep you all in the hospital.
Countless fucking wrestlers have been out for weeks due to severe concussions.
And honestly, if you guys think that the chair shots are and chair shots and ladder shots and putting them through tables, if y'all think that's some of the nastier stuff, it's not. It's not even close.
No. The innovator of that one is one of my favorites, and he's a legend for all this shit. That would be Mick Foley.
Yeah, I love Mick Foley. But like, if you go back and you watch some classic ECW matches where like the Nasty Boys are having a Singapore death match, and they're both they both have their hands wrapped up in cloth, and they dip it in glue, and then dip the cloth in like broken glass, and then they have a fist fight. Or like the barbed wire match where they replace all the ring rope with barbed wire.
Yeah, there's one.
It's a hell of a lot more brutal.
I'll give you this one, and this has happened to at least 3 wrestlers that I know of. 3. And all 3 of them have said the same shit over and over again. And they still say it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you the 3 wrestlers. Mick Foley, Chris Jericho, and Randy Orton. They all have one thing in common.
Yep.
And that is being body slammed into a pile of fucking thumbtacks.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's
Randy Orton, after he got body slammed into a pile of thumbtacks and the match was over and he went home and his wife helped get him out. He told his wife the next day, I swear to God, you left some still stuck in my skin. Get them out now. That shit was painful. And she told him, she goes, honey, I got all of them out. There's nothing on your back. He goes, they fucking feels like it. Chris Jericho has said on numerous little TV show streaming places like Sporf and shit like that. And he's talked about it the multiple times because he's taken the thumbtacks to the back multiple times. And he said, never again, because that shit actually hurts. Mick Foley did that shit as well.
Yeah, I mean,
with what Chapel was saying earlier, the Hell in Cell match between Mankind and Undertaker, he had a tooth come out his fucking nose. He's missing part of his ear. This man, Mick Foley, is a fucking hardcore legend for a reason.
Yeah. He's which I bet you 10-1. Outside of the ring and the camera, probably one of the most cuddly guys you'll ever see. But man, when he is in character, his regular persona and personality checks out, and the Mad Dog fucking Undertaker killer himself comes out.
To me, Mick is one of my favorites as well, and it's not just because of his multiple. Well, I like all his personas but one. Never really fell into line with Dude Love. But Mankind, Cactus Jack, those were fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And the matches that he had, fucking barbed wire matches and shit like that. Even talked about a match between him and Triple H. Triple H had something wrapped in barbed wire, and the barbed wire was fake. Mick pulled out a fucking 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire, and that shit was real.
Yeah, which I mean, and when you talk about doing the old stuff like that, you know, it shows that even though it was a lot of entertainment for viewers and stuff, you would still notice that, like, even still to this day, you watch any UFC fight, when they put them gloves on, you always see the refs checking their gloves, patting them down, going, okay, do you have anything in these? Because you're about to fuck up your opponent. And if you have anything more in that, you're going to fuck them up a lot worse than what they need to be.
Well, I mean, even Undertaker stated it, and Mix even confirmed it. That Hell in a Cell match, it was no one's idea but Mix for Undertaker to throw him off the top of that cage. Vince was against it. The whole fucking creative team was against it.
Yep.
Undertaker was not even comfortable with it. And Mick told him, throw me.
Yeah, just do it. Throw me. Come on.
Just do it. Just do it. Throw it. Throw me. And that to this day is one of the most talked about matches ever. And there's not been any other match to top it yet.
No, and you know what? They both earned some massive respect out of doing that. Like, even though Undertaker was uncomfortable doing it, he still trusted his opponent to be like, yeah, come on, I can take it. Let's just do it. Let's give him something fun.
Yet again, with that being, you know, Undertaker being one of my favorites, I'll go into it. Cody Rhodes has talked about it. Whenever it was a Royal Rumble that Cody Rhodes had entered, and he came in, he did his whole thing, and he decided to just full on arm club Undertaker while Undertaker had someone held in the corner. And Undertaker stood straight up, turned right around. Cody starts fucking backing up, throwing his hands up. I didn't mean it. And then he grabs him for a choke slam, pulls him in.
Yep. Just fucking
and goes, drop kick me. Huh? Drop kick me. Cody drop kicks him. And from that point on, Cody realized what type of fucking guy The Undertaker was.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've got a lot of wrestlers that have my respect, a lot of wrestlers that have lost my respect. And so I have great favorites. There's a big controversy that goes around Chris Benoit.
Balls. Sorry. I had to.
Okay, Archer. Squirrely, I'm going to need you to take it down about 10%.
Oh, shit.
But no, Chris Benoit was one of my favorite wrestlers. But the controversy with him is just, there's two sides to it, and then there's another side, and no one knows that other side because, well, the man's dead. They're not going to get it out of him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he legitimately wanted to murder his wife and child and commit suicide. But also people are stating that it had something to do with steroids. I don't really believe it was steroids. I think it was more along the lines of and because this goes into what I'm talking about. Hulk Hogan talked about it. He started out at like 6'1", 6'2", and he repeatedly shrank over the years because of the multiple times he delivered that leg drop and landing on his tailbone. His spine just fucking started driving itself into the vertebrae started driving into each other. Chris Benoit was using a maneuver called the flying headbutt. Well, what's going to happen to the brain whenever you repeatedly slam your head into an object night after night? It's going to get fucking scrambled.
Yeah.
And even doctors even doctors told Chris, you need to stop using that maneuver.
Yeah. You're going to be more fucked up in the head than Chappell is.
Bam Bam Bigelow was another one that used the fucking flying headbutt. and Bam Bam retired because he couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was fucking his head up, and it was
Yeah.
fucking his brain up. So I mean, was Chris Benoit all the way there?
Balls.
No one knows except for Chris Benoit. Balls.
I'm sorry. I have to. Lana.
Another one of my favorites that his character and I have a serious love-hate relationship was Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, fucking Guerrero. I was wondering when his name was gonna come in.
Eddie died in a hotel room due to a concussion.
Yep.
To this day, I still believe that a wrestler is responsible for that concussion.
Yeah. I mean,
and that would be Mr. Ken Kennedy or whatever Anderson.
Yeah.
The blonde-headed dipshit that comes out with an old-timey fucking mic and goes, Anderson.
Yeah.
There was a maneuver where he fucking basically was a rolling senton off the fucking top rope, and Eddie landed the wrong fucking way, and he shouldn't have done that maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, viewers, I mean, you don't, for you listeners that don't like wrestling and stuff like that, you know, that's totally fine. And for the other viewers that sit there and also say it's all just paid bullcrap. Yes, to a degree it is as well. However, you can at least respect the people that do it because they're taking a lot of physical activity to make this a reality for everyone to watch. Like, you can't just... Let's put it this way. You're not going to see a guy like me, this skinny twig of a man, walk into a ring and think, yeah, I can get paid to do this. Fuck no! I am physically fit enough for that kind of physical trauma.
Well, I mean, you take it into consideration, and I'm just ad-libbing a comedian that's talked about it. Wrestling is more real than it is fake because you've got 200+ pound men perfectly choreographing everything synchronized together in almost a dance to entertain the masses.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It is. And it is. If you look at it that way as well, besides just the primal incantation of seeing violence, it's wonderfully done. Massive respect to all these wrestling committees out there that genuinely make this a thing. Like, you guys thought of something amazing, and you've been rolling with it ever since for years, and it's still gonna be something for years to come.
I feel like I've been hogging most of the time here. Chapel's like, this was my subject.
Nope.
Chapel's just enjoying the fact that we actually are able to.
Talking?
Hey, he's enjoying the fact that we can actually, you know, put in some feedback into this.
Oh, this subject right here. Like I said, I grew up watching wrestling as a kid.
Yep.
And I still watch wrestling now. And like I told Chapel before the start of the show, some of the storylines are so fucking predictable. I can call the winner before the match is over with. Because, but that also goes in the fact that I've seen so much wrestling and seen so many of the storylines. It's almost a fucking sixth sense for me to tell you who's going to win something. I've sat down and watched it with my dad, and my dad's like, who do you think's going to win? And I tell him right over the phone. I even face to face or over the phone. I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? That person's not going to win. Oh yeah, they are. I said, no, they're not. So and so is going to win. He'll watch it, and I haven't even fucking seen it. I don't like you. Why? Because I called what you were fucking wanting not to happen. Well, how do you? And that's something. He goes, well, how do you know? I said, because I've seen the storylines. I know the storyline. I've been following the storyline, and I can tell you already who's going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what's going on right now in modern day wrestling. Judgment Day is a faction in the group with Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley. And another wrestler's coming in. His name is JD McDonough. Well, Damian Priest currently holds what they call the Money in the Bank contract, which is a briefcase with a year-long opportunity from Money in Bank to Money in Bank pay-per-views that he can cash that contract in at any time for a title opportunity. Well, that's causing tension within the group between him and Finn Balor, because Finn Balor, 7 years ago, got injured in his match with Seth Rollins for what was the title at the time, the WWE Universal title. Finn Balor was the first person to win that. He lost, or he had to give that title up within 24 hours because of a torn pectoral muscle. All because he sustained an injury during the match off a maneuver that wasn't executed properly. So that's how that goes down. And every time that briefcase gets introduced to help Finn in some way win whatever matches he's in, it all backfires and blows up in his fucking face.
Yeah.
Like Monday night, because Monday night was days ago. I watched it. He was in a match against Cody Rhodes. And they had distracted the referee with a steel chair, so on and so forth. And Damian Priest slides the briefcase in. What happens? Finn didn't fucking have his hands down far enough to catch the briefcase in time, and it slides straight under his fucking legs, right to Cody Rhodes. He turns around, Cody cocks him with the fucking briefcase. The ref turns around after everything, after the commotion's done and everything else. Cody picks him up, hits him with Crossroads, 1, 2, 3, victory.
Yep.
So, I mean, I see shit.
Yeah.
I knew that shit was going to happen, and eventually this faction, just like the Bloodline, is going to collapse.
Well, I mean, that's the end result of all factions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All except for one, and that is the greatest faction in sports entertainment, period. And you know why they're the greatest?
It's
because they have 2 words for you.
Titties and beer.
Suck it.
Suck it. D-Generation X. The best faction ever.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we'll have to continue this at a different point, because I think we're at time now. So we'll have to do another episode of professional wrestling at a different point.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to do another episode of this. We're gonna have to do another one, because I want to do another one of the fucking cyber augmentation. That was a lot of fun. That was a great episode for me, and fun as shit.
Augmentation. The rise of the Gatling cock strikes back.
And then I would like for us all to dive into aliens again, because that was a great topic to go off of. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be other episodes in the future that we're going to have. That's the reason why I brought it up in the group chat, of us having episode of specific topics, because we can't encompass everything in an hour.
Yeah. No. But you know what? I appreciate it. To all of our listeners, hit that like, subscribe, follow. We appreciate all the people that listen. Thank you so much.
And remember, if you want to make sure Chapel keeps his clothes on, definitely hit that like and subscribe. We don't want to see that.
All right. You guys have a wonderful day.
Peace.